GSA, which is, a very widely used contract. It's considered a GWAC. So that was another thing that we focused on trying to expand. So if you have a GSA contract, you have to have what's called a letter of supply from the manufacturer in order for you to put that product on the contract. So when I came on board, we weren't really managing the process. Like, we didn't really know who was the letter of supply holder. We knew we had a handful of them. So we really tried to clean that up, but then also, again, expand our customer base and to make sure that we had our products on these GSA contracts, because it is such a popular contract that's used. So right now, I want to say we have about, there's about 32 what are called letter of supply holders. They're LG letter of supply holders. So they are authorized to put LG product on their GSA contract. Yeah, so then that way, if a government agency, say again, the US Navy, they're going to go out and say, I need to, buy these displays. I want to make sure that they're trade compliant. They would look on that partner's contract to see what product is listed there, and then it becomes part of the standardization. So, and that's why contracts are so important in the government space, is to just be able to get your product on the contracts, to be able to have the visibility, and for that to be a vehicle or a tool for them to procure off of. Because if you're not on, if you're not on a contract or the contract of some sort, then they can't even procure the product. So the size of the partner and the different companies that we're working with, they range for all over the place. It could be a company that's maybe doing, $30 million a year to a company that's up to, $500 million to, like the NSPs, you're getting up into the billion. So it's a pretty broad range. It's across the board. I would say the sweet spot, though, of the partners that we've been trying to work with are under, like, around that 200K, in revenues. That seems to be like a nice sweet spot, again, to where you can go in, build a relationship, be a trusted advisor. But right now, if we were to look at the ecosystem of partners, it is kind of all over the place. As far as the leads go, so a couple of things. One is, over the last couple of years, I spent, obviously a lot of time on the road and visiting customers, and leveraging distribution has also been really important, and leveraging their ecosystem of partners. So, they do so many events throughout the year. So if they were to have an event, and if it was an opportunity for me to be able to present to, 50 to 75 partners at a time, that was also, something that was pretty, successful and rewarding. Because if I could present to 75 people at one time, and, maybe 5, 6, 10 people contact me afterwards, and then from there, there's other introductions, other things happen, versus me going on the road and only getting to see, 3 customers a day or, 4 customers a day. So leveraging distribution is also something that's been really important. And then as far as the leads, what that process looks like, a lot comes from distribution. We're kind of funneling what's quote requests that are coming there. Then you have the established relationships like the CDWs, the TransSource, and then it's trying to find a balance between cultivating new business and then supporting the existing business as well. I will say it's been challenging. I feel like we need more people. Definitely, the bandwidth has been a little bit off because you grow so much and you grow so fast, and then all of a sudden it's like you don't want to go backwards. So luckily they were able to hire somebody this past year So we have an additional resource that's here that's helping me. So he's supporting the West Coast, and I've been supporting the East Coast. So that's been a big help. But again, the cultivating and going out and finding new business is really what's most important, because as the opportunities are coming in, yeah, you're doing a lot of quoting. It can be a lot of like just run rate type stuff, but going out and trying to find the project-based business and the big deals is what we've been trying to do. So we are focused on just the channel partners, and then we report to Victoria Sandfield. So Vicki is my sales manager, and under her team, she has 2 other people, but they focus on education. So for the federal side, it's just the 2 of us, and then education has 2 people as well. So so there's a couple. Well, there's probably two or three that come to mind. The first one really is the State Department, which is the one that I mentioned earlier. So it was a brand new partner for us. It was a brand new contract that we got on, and it was a brand new agency that we started selling to. And I want to say by the end of the year, we wound up selling close to, I think it was probably about 1.6 million. And it was in just 2 different size categories. It was a 34-inch and a 24-inch. So that was, that was exciting part of last year for us. The second success story, I would say, is from a partner. It's called Westwind Computers. And so Westwind, they have a big contract with the Navy, and they were selling off of this contract. It was called the NGen contract. But so Samsung was really the one that was the incumbent on most of the desktop displays, like it was 24-inch, 27, and 32. So what Westwind did was Westwind went back to the contracting officers and said, why don't we look at some other sizes? Let's look at some of these bigger sizes. Everybody's kind of moving towards ultra wide. So they were able to propose to them these ultra wides. We were able to send out some products and have them test them and demo them. And they wound up approving them, and they added the products onto the contract. And last year, like year over year, so I would say within that first year that Westwind, we were doing business together, I want to say they probably did maybe about 300K, 350K. And then last year, we got them to $1 million. And that was primarily through that one particular contract. And then it was also through selling some of the large format the UT series, the UT and the US series. So again, it was, it's just creating the awareness and getting people to talk about the product, get them excited about it. I think, especially in the government space, there's so much white space and so much opportunity for us, because really, Samsung and Dell are really like the big heavy horses. And so a lot of people don't know. I mean, of course they know LG, but they don't, I guess, realize that like almost our entire product portfolio is trade compliant, or they just don't know the story behind it all. And then really our biggest success story is TransSource. TransSource has been an existing customer before I came on board. Really, it was, Stephen Hughes really cultivated that relationship. But we've been able to keep things going and keep things moving. Last year, I think TransSource did over $10 million with us in supporting the Air Force and supporting that contract. But I think for many years, Stephen was chasing that business, and we finally got them to take a chance with LG, and I know that they're very happy with